Hi, it's Starnell with Way Living Recipes, and here I have the Instant Vortex Air Fryer oven. So let's get it opened up right now. And here it is. This is the Instant Vortex Plus, by the way. This is the one I chose to go with, and so I'm going to get it on out of this box. Alright, so we got it all unboxed, and here's the power cord. It's a short for safety 3-prong power cord. I just want to show you the exterior of the unit. You've got the door here, and you've got some venting on the top there, some air vents there, and you've got one there on the back there for some exhaust there. Alright, now let's take a look inside the cooker. When I open things up for you, you can see inside the sides and the back have no fan or anything. Everything's happening from the top down. You've got the big heating coil there and your fan to blow your air up there as well. There is no light inside that I see, but there is a light button, so the light must be somewhere up there in the top as well as the ambient probe must be up there because it's not anywhere else. We do have here on the sides the rotisserie latch to loosen the rotisserie, and this is the rotisserie holder there. And we've got some rack levels. We've got you got the bottom where you can put the grease catcher, but I'll show you that. You can cook food on that also. And you've got 1, 2, 3 rack levels to work with. Alright, now I'm going to show you some of the accessories. This is the drip pan that you can also bake on. That of course goes in the very bottom. And you've got 2 of these like air fry racks. They only give you 2 of them. And so you can put those in on the rack levels when you want to use those. You've also got here the rotisserie parts. Here's the rotisserie rod and the rotisserie forks. You get 2 of those. They're just 2-prong forks. You also get a rotisserie basket to like do fries and things in. And they give you this tool to get the rotisserie in and out of the cooker. They give you a little bit of paperwork here, so I'll just take a quick look at what they give you in terms of the paperwork. Here you have the, what is this? This is something in a non-English language here, so we'll skip that. This is the safety, maintenance, and warranty information here in this book here. And this is the getting started guide. So basically all they give you is a getting started guide and warranty, maintenance, and information like that. To get the full manual, you can get that online. You can get the full manual that has all the information about how to use the cooker, but it looks like they don't give you a full complete manual out of the box. They also don't give you any recipes out of the box. They say you can get them online or through their app. So I guess they went a little short on the documentation. I did want to point out that they mentioned that you can use any oven-safe cookware in this cooker. And I want to show you the removable door. See, they give you that for easier cleaning. You're supposed to be able to kind of turn it at an angle and be able to pull the door out at a 45-degree angle, they say. There it is. Takes a little work, but you can basically pull it up out of there, and then when you want to put it back, you can drop it back down in there. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Takes a little work, but you can get it in and out. And we'll get into, the cleaning and all that stuff later. Now this cooker comes in at 1500 watts. That's a little low for an air fryer. I mean, if you want to go high end as far as air fryers, they come in usually at 1800 watts, maybe even a little more than 1800 watts, but this one does 1500 watts, so it's a little lower, and we'll see how it cooks in the testing, but it is small, so it may be able to make up for that due to its small size. The dimensions of this cooker in inches are 13.23 by 13.23 by 14.37 inches, and so we'll do some actual independent measurements later. It has a 10-quart capacity, and they say the cooker weighs 16.94 pounds, so they must use a pretty precise scale. The temperature ranges for this cooker are 95 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. However, generally speaking, most of the functions on this cooker use between 180 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll get into those details a little later. And the time ranges for this cooker are between 1 minute to 72 hours, but most functions will only do 1 minute to 1 hour. So we'll get into that also a little later. Alright, so now we have the Instant Vortex Plus next to the NuWave Brio 14Q, and we can see that the 14Q, being a 14-quart cooker, is a bit bigger. It has been, a bit used in a lot of cooks and whatnot, so basically you can see that it's definitely taller. I'm going to show you first like a crisper tray from the 14Q versus a crisper tray from the Vortex, which is a 10-quart. It's not much smaller, just a little smaller. Now I'm going to measure from one end inside the door. We got 11 inches on the 14Q. We've got about 10.5 on the Vortex Plus. Going from front to back, I'm looking at about 12 inches on the 14Q. On the Vortex Plus, I'm looking at just about 10 inches. So much shorter front to back. So, the 14Q definitely is longer, it's taller, it's a bigger cooker overall. So, in overall size, the 14Q, being a 14-quart cooker, is going to be able to hold more food. But if you need something that's not too big, then, the Instant Pot Vortex Plus 10-quart probably would suit your needs. Alright, so now we have here the Ninja Foodi 2-basket air fryer, which is an 8-quart total size cooker, versus the Instant Vortex Plus, which is a 10-quart. And if we take one of the baskets out, we can see that compared to the tray, I mean, just way bigger for the Instant Vortex Plus. And so, this definitely can't hold as much necessarily as this, overall in total. And the Vortex Plus is just a little taller. As far as the front to back, they're both very similar size front to back. Maybe due to the handles, the Ninja's just a little longer, but not by much at all. Alright, this is the only larger size cooker I'm going to compare it to, but this is the Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven, and you can see that it's way larger than the Instant Vortex Plus, I mean, just by a ton. So, I mean, it's taller, it's bigger, it's just going to hold way more. I mean, there's, no doubt, if you get a smaller cooker, it's going to, be smaller, much smaller, and the bigger one's just way bigger overall. Alright, so let's do some more measurements. We've already done some interior measurement and the comparison, so If we do from over the top here, we can see that over the top is a little more than 13 inches. In terms of height, it is, well, let's see. Yeah, I guess it's a little over 14 inches, not 15 inches. And front to back, we can see that when you include the handle, you're just under 13 inches there. Okay, now let's do an initial plug-in. So I'm going to take it here and grab this plug and get it plugged on in here. And when you plug it in, you get a little beep and it tells you it's off. Now I want to show you how to turn that beeping off. You can control whether it's going to make noise or not. If you hold the minus button on, this is the temp, this is the time, and it has up, down, up, down. And so what you do is that you hold the minus button on both the down simultaneously for 5 seconds, and then it's not supposed to beep anymore. So like now if I click on something, there's no beeping. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the beeping back. Sorry to you who don't like that, but you know, if you get one and you don't want beeping, that's how you can take the beeping off or turn it back on. You can also change easily between Fahrenheit and Celsius. If you want to do that, you can, while it's here in this off mode, you can hit the temp button, the up and down on temp, hold those at the same time. I'm going to hold up and down on the temp for a moment. There we go. And it changed to Celsius. Now I hold it again, and it's going to change to Fahrenheit. Now it's supposed to remember your last cooking function settings. So let's say I click on air fry and I knock temp down to 390 degrees and I set the time to, let's say, 8 minutes. And I click start with that. Let's see, click start. Whoa, this thing does a lot of beeping. But I'm going to cancel. I think we're going to kill the beeping because it does a good bit of noisy beep in there. So we're going to kill that. Just gonna, alright, now no more beeping, thankfully. So now if I go over to roast, I see something, but then I go to air fry, I still see my 390, and I still see my, well, 8 minutes of cooking time. But let's say that I cancel that and I unplug. Let's see what happens if I unplug. So I'm going to unplug, and I'm going to replug in again. And so we've got things plugged back in. And so now I click on air fry, I still see my 390 for cooking time, I still see my 8 minutes. So even after you unplug, it retains the last cook that you use for a function. That's pretty cool. And you also notice that it retains my setting for not beeping. Now let's say you want to reset a function so that it goes back to the factory default. If I want to set air fry back to the default, I can hold the air fry button. It was off and I just hold it and you see it went back to like 18 minutes and 400 degrees. So that sets it back to the default for setting. Now let's say I wanted to reset all functions back to their default setting. You hold the up on the time temp and do that at the same time. And so now it's supposed to have fully reset everything. It even reset my setting for beeping, so that takes you back to factory default. So we're going to hold these again to get back to no more beeping, because we don't want any more beeping. Now I want to point out that the air fry, roast, broil, and bake settings have a preheat. And you have 10 seconds to open the door to add your food after the preheat ends, or it just starts cooking. I also want to point out that air fry and roast will ask you to turn your food partway through the cook. And if you just wait 10 seconds after it tells you to turn, it'll just continue back on with the cook, but it does give you an opportunity to get in there and do any turning. Once you open the door, it'll pause until you're done doing your turning and such. Now let's go through all the functions for this cooker. The first function is air fry. Air fry has a cooking time of between 1 minute to 1 hour and cooking temperatures between 180 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Next we have roast. Roast has a cooking time also of 1 minute to 1 hour and also 180 degrees to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then there's the broil function. The broil function can go for 1 minute to 40 minutes and is locked at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The next function is bake, and for bake your cooking time is again 1 minute to 1 hour and cooking temperatures are again 180 degrees Fahrenheit to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The next function that we'll talk about is this reheat function here. The reheat function can go from 1 minute to 60 minutes and has temperature ranges between 120 degrees Fahrenheit to 360 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we'll talk about the dehydrate function. The dehydrate function can go from 1 to 72 hours at temperatures between 95 degrees Fahrenheit to 175 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's talk about the rotisserie. With the rotisserie, basically you use this rotate button in conjunction with either air fry or roast. And basically it'll have the rotisserie spinning while you cook using either the air fry or the roast setting. Now I'm going to show you how to use the rotisserie rod and forks. The forks have these screws on them, and the rod, you can stick it in on one side here, and you see it's got a little indentation there. You can either use that or you can stick things in further as far as you need to stick in, and you can lock it into place. And after you lock one side in, you could put your food on the rod and through the forks on a side. Then you would take your other rotisserie fork here, and after you loosen it up with the screw, you would stick it in on the other side, and then you're going to put that on here on the rod, and you're going to put that through your meat. Have both forks through your meat. You tighten up, and after you tighten up, you can put it into the rotisserie. And to show you how to put it into the rotisserie, it's really easy. You're going to hit this knob here, this red knob. You're going to slide it in, and you're going to put that in there to lock it in place, and then you just put it into the other side, and you're just going to kind of spin to kind of get it in there. So just like that, you can easily get your rod in there, and you'd be doing that with some food if you had food. And to get it out, you would hit the knob again, and you could just easily pull things out. You would want to use, if you so choose, you can use their rotisserie tool grabber here to get things in and out. You can, kind of have it on that and kind of maneuver it in and out. Alright, so now I've got the rotisserie basket here. With the basket, you basically hold it up, you put your food in it. After you get your food in it, you're going to put the lid on, and you're going to lock it shut here. You see you can get it open, then you can lock it shut. And after you lock it shut, you use the same procedure to put it in and lock it into the rotisserie. Alright, so I'm going to take and I'm going to lock my basket into place here. So got my basket in, and I'm going to close up. I'm just going to show you real quick how to get things started. You would hit, let's say, air fry, and we got the default of 400 degrees at 18 minutes. We'll go with that. But you can hit start, and once you hit start, it's on, and you can click rotate. And as you can see, once you click rotate, it's rotating, and the rotisserie is going. Alright, so now I've got my iGrill 2 ambient probe in there on a rack, and I'm going to close up here. And so I'm able to just barely close up with that cord, but it is able to close. And I want to do some temperature testing here. So I'm going to hit the air fry, and I'm going to set the time. I'm going to move the time up to like 30 minutes so that I just have a lot of time to work with. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit start. and now it's doing the preheat. When it's on, it's preheating. It's not truly at temp yet. When it says add food, that's when it's done preheating, but we'll let this continue to preheat. Alright, so it's saying add food. It's at 384 or so on my iGrill 2, but I'm going to open the door to simulate adding food. So let's say I added food, and then I close up again. And now that I've closed up again, it's actually cooking. And you know, it thinks it's food in there, so I'm going to let this run for a little bit. Now the cooker seems at this point to be holding steady at what I'm getting is, well, it was 388 for a moment. Now it's dropped down to 386. So at what was about 388 for my ambient probe was probably where I guess it thinks it's peaked out and it's starting to bring things back down a little. Now it's down into the upper 370s. You do hear that the cooker, it does make a little bit of noise. It is an audible cooker. So, you know, it reaches near 400. I wouldn't say, you know, from this test that it hit exactly 400, but it gets close. And then it tries to regulate down to not go, you know, I guess too hot. But at this point now, I'm going to just open the door to basically see if it auto pauses when I open the door. And yes, we get the auto pause when we open the door. Close the door again. And it starts back cooking again after we close the door. So we do get the auto pause. When you want to stop things, you can always just hit the red cancel button to basically stop it. This fan does run after you stop it for a little while for it to do its cool down sequence. Alright, now I'm going to test rotisserie air frying some French fries. So to wake the cooker up, you're supposed to be able to just kind of press anywhere and it wakes up. And I'm going to, before I start the cooker up as far as actually cooking, I'm going to put my fries into the rotisserie basket here. Got them all poured in there like so. Get that one there. Then put the lid on here and have that closed up. And I'll just kind of stage things here with the utensil that puts things inside, or the tool that puts things inside. And I'm going to click air fry, and keep it at 400. I'm going to adjust the cooking time down to, let's say, I don't think it'll need 15, but let's just give it 15. I'll just pull them when they look like they're done. But going to click start, and you know, it's doing the preheat thing. And once it's ready, I'll put them in. Alright, it says add food. I got 10 seconds to open that door. And so I'm going to get this in. I will say it's interesting, you know, you wait several minutes and then you've got 10 seconds to get on opening that door or it's just going to start cooking. So got it in, close up. And now that I've closed up, I'm going to hit rotate to get the rotisserie rotating. So now the rotisserie is spinning and my fries are in there cooking. I'm going to let them cook for a while. When they look good and done, I'll bring you on back. Alright, I've let them spin for 13 minutes. I'm going to open up here and get them on out. So open the door. And I'm going to use this little tool to get the rotisserie out of there. You didn't even have to hit the knob, it just kind of gets it out the right kind of way. So you're just going to set that right there for a quick set. And while that's there, I'm going to go ahead and get the lid off best I can with my gloved hand to keep it from burning. Now I'm going to take the fries and dump those into this basket, into this bowl here. Alright, so I got the fries out and let it do its cool down. It does cool down for maybe 30 seconds or so, not a very long cool down afterwards. But you can see the fries are done. The fries they're a little moist, I guess they're not super crisp. I guess I could let them go longer to get them real crisp. But tasting, they taste pretty good. Alright, now I'm going to do a bake test with some crescent rolls. And so they're supposed to be heated at 375 for about 8 or 9 to 12 minutes. So when we get them opened up and put them on the drip pan here, I'll just get them, rolled up and set up here. Alright, so we got our crescent rolls all set up here. And so now I'm going to wake the cooker up and going to hit the bake function. Going to up the temp to 375, going to adjust the cooking time down to 12 minutes, and going to hit start, and we'll let it, as soon as I hit start, there we go, we'll let it preheat, and then we'll get them on in. Alright, it's gone to add food, so I've got to open up fast and get things in there. Slide it on in, close up. We'll let that cook and I'll bring you back in a moment. Alright, I've let them cook for just 7 minutes, but they're looking done. So I'm going to open up and going to see what's going on in here with one of them. You can see underneath it's looking a little light, but inside I do believe it's done. I do believe it's done inside. Let's go a little further to the middle. It's kind of hot. Trying to break open. Yeah, I think it's done. So in just 7 minutes, let me get the rest of these out. You can see it cooked up my crescent rolls pretty quick. So that's a pretty good job baking that fast. That's really good. That's really good. I am impressed by that quick bake. They did get the top brown more than the bottom, having the heat coming from the top down, but all the same, just 7 minutes. Let me turn this thing off. So, pretty good job there. Alright, so let's talk about cleaning this cooker. All the removable parts except for the door are dishwasher safe. With the door and the unit itself, you gotta use like a wet soapy cloth and wash it, wipe it down, and then, get the excess off and all that whatnot. And so that's how you clean it. Alright, so let's talk about warranty. This cooker comes with a 1-year warranty. And so I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Basically in the video description you can find a referral link for it and to my Amazon shop, amazon.com/shop/waveovenrecipes. Also, you can see other things like joining this channel as a member, so you can see videos before others see them, and you see other ways to help the channel. The referral link, you pay basically the same price you would pay at Amazon, but you help this channel, and so that's cool to help the channel and not pay anything extra on your end. And so with all of that said, I do hope that you enjoyed this review. It's a pretty interesting little cooker. And so looking forward to your comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share the video with a friend. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. And good eating.